That was an awesome start to the stream. I forgot to unmute my mic. Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. It's been a while, hope everybody's okay. I'm going to be carrying on modeling the painted ladies from San Francisco. I started it about 21 days ago. I haven't had much time to work on it. I think in the last stream what we got done was we managed to get a block out done. And I've been working on it in my spare time. On and off over the last couple of weeks, but in my spare time this is where I've got to. So you can see here, pretty far along. I reckon I could probably get the majority of this done today, maybe this second floor at least done, and then looking at the roof. So yeah, so gonna work on that today. Great start to the stream with me muted mic. But yeah, it's been really busy over the last couple of weeks. The game that I was working on is out on iOS and Android. It's called Club Soccer Director. I think I did quite a few streams based around it. So yeah, if you like football management games, that's out on iOS at the moment. I think it was 10th or 13th yesterday on the sports section on the store. Let's have a quick look. So yeah, Club Soccer Director 2021. Let's have a look at this. Where is it? Still number 13 on the Play Store. on the Play Store. One man about the iOS store. So yeah, if you like football management games, go check it out. I did the 3D environments for it. Martin 3D. Hello, Martin. Yeah, it has been a while. I've just been really busy. Finishing freelance projects off, getting teaching material ready for next semester, visiting family, and the hot weather. I just don't do very well in the hot weather. So yeah, I don't think you want to see my sweaty self streaming while it's hot. So weather's a little bit cooler now, but thingy. It's not. It could be used as a modular house, but it's kind of it's a one-off house because these are quite unique houses. And I was playing Watch Dogs 2, and I was like, oh, San Francisco. And like 2 years ago, I was actually in San Francisco. I think today was the day that I walked from Union Square all the way up to Alamo and then along to Golden Gate Bridge. So yeah, it's kind of reminiscence of me visiting this house, walking alongside it, and also just kind of like playing Watch Dogs 2. I just decided I wanted to make a house. So I'm making this one, as you can see here. I think the last time I was there, you were working on an apartment. Did you finish it? Apartment? I don't know. When was the last time you watched my stuff? That's normally a good question. I don't know. It may have been the office environment that I was doing. That was just a prototype for something I never finished it, basically. If it's that one, I think I can't remember. But yeah, it probably was that one actually. No, that's in the unfinished pile. That was a prototype for a project we were thinking of doing a table flip. hasn't happened. So yeah. So it was just a prototype. We were putting something together, and in the end, we just didn't use it. I think some of the guys at work used it for a demonstration. So what we've got at work is we've got a full mocap studio. And we've also got the same technology that they use for Hellblade, where you can do live capture into Unreal using the mocap. So I think some of the guys at work were doing kind of like a demonstration to artsy people. I wouldn't say games people, but artsy people. So they used that environment to kind of like they took out the desks and the computers, and they used it as a kind of like a dance studio, and yeah, I think that's what they used for that. So it did kind of get used for something, but yeah, no, I didn't go back to it, unfortunately. Is this for building for games? Hopefully I can sell it on the Unreal store or ArtStation store maybe. So yeah, it's I think last time we did get the block out inside of Unreal, so that's working. So yeah, eventually I'll start to migrate this back into the engine once I've finished modeling it. But yeah, I think we definitely got the block out in on the last video, the last stream I did 21 days ago. So yeah. Yeah, we did. It's there. So yeah, I'm just gonna put some music on because trying to model without music, it's not good. Let's start with rock. Let's see what there is. Yeah, I know. Like, I haven't even started to optimize this yet. This is very much kind of like still building it, and like I've said before, I kind of work high to low. So I'll probably make a low poly version of that, definitely, because it's like 1,800 per thingy. I can strip a lot of those polys out and bake the detail in, but I prefer to work high to low. So yeah. It is high at the moment, but I'll fix that as soon as I've finished modelling. Right, where was I? I was doing something last time I was on this, and it was to get this sitting right. Sorry for the background noise there. That was, I think that's one of the planes from ducks are flying over. So I live quite close to an old World War II airfield who still does lots of air shows. Duxford, if you're from around Cambridge area, you'll know it. And ever so often they have, actually quite regularly, they have the Spitfire flying over. So yeah. Which is pretty cool. Okay, so I think I was going to delete this. So what have you been up to, Martin, recently? No, I don't think you did show me the last project, the Rome project. No. I won't give you criticism. I might give you some feedback, but I'm not going to criticise it. I do follow you, don't I? Yeah, let's say. Okay, so just off the bat, the detail in the detail in the statues is really nice, and I think the kind of mural up at the top is quite nice and detailed. Even though I can't really see much of it from these screenshots, I'm hoping further down you may have got some more closer shots to that, which I don't think you have. Just a tip, if you're doing kind of like time lapses like that, which are really cool to show off kind of like your construction process, make them 1920 by 1080 if possible, just so that they're kind of like the same size as your renders that you're doing, because I'm guessing you're using kind of like the high-res screenshot inside of Unreal 4 and then maybe doing a ×4 on it, so it'll be a 4K and then shrinking it down to 1920 by 1080. Well, that's kind of what I do. But yeah, just the thingy. I I'd say, I think in places some of the lighting's flat. Mainly where things are connecting to the floor. I'll allow that. The profanity filter just kicked in then. I have got it on this channel. But yeah, like I've got a video actually on the YouTube channel. So me and Tommy migrated all of our tutorials onto one YouTube channel called Table Flip Games. And I've got a video on how to kind of set up the HDRI lighting scene so that you can kind of use it like marmoset. So for example, like the prop sheet, you could put these inside of this scene, like inside of a HDRI scene which has got really nice lighting. You can get some really nice shots. If you look at my portfolio, the stuff that I did on Cenotaph, those are all rendered using that HDRI pipeline, and it's kind of like marmoset, but it isn't. It's marmoset inside of Unreal, which is, if you can't afford marmoset to do prop renders, then it's good. And you can get the same thing, but like I was saying, just some of the bits, some of the lighting feels a little bit flat, and I think that's mainly because of like the AO on how things are connecting to the floor and the walls and stuff. I think some of the geometry feels like it's kind of floating. It isn't, but it does feel that way. It doesn't. It feels like it hasn't got enough, like I forgot what the lighting term's called, but like AO and just kind of shadow around the bases. Yeah, I mean, you don't. If you're lighting a scene, then you can actually use HDRIs inside of the post processing volume, especially with I forgot what the thing's called. I think it's ambient light, and you can actually use a HDRI in that. And a really good place to get HDRIs from is this place. I'll just HDRI Haven. Yes, that's the one. HDRI Haven's really good for getting it, and there's a couple of okay. Let me just. These articles probably won't help you for that scene because it is an outside scene, but there's a really cool couple of articles that I always refer to. I need to find them. I'll put them in links for my students next semester for when I'm doing kind of like interior lighting and that sort of stuff. But the same principles can kind of be applied. Gotta find where the link is now. No, I know where you are. You're not there. I'll get the link for you because it is a really good article, and I think actually it is an exterior lighting article. So let's hope. So that's the first one, which would apply to yours a little bit, because of the exterior lighting, especially if you've got kind of holes on top of the pillars and that sort of stuff. Using, do you know what? My mind has gone blank today, but light mass portals are really good for, say, you've got kind of like. If you've got like a roof and you've got skylights, or if you've got certain areas, you can put these light mass importance volumes in there, light mass portals in there, and it just helps draw the light through those and cast nicer shadows. So that's quite a good article. and this is really good for setting up kind of lighting and stuff. But yeah, level 8 has got some really cool lighting articles. Another really good guy to look at is Clinton Crumpt. I've probably just butchered his name. Let me try and find. Let me go back to your art station a minute. He says. You don't mind me sharing this on stream, do you? Cool. So yeah. So like, can you see how it feels really flat around these edges? And this kind of shot as well. I mean, the trees are looking nice. I don't know what you used to make those. But I think, yeah, just some more interesting compositions, basically. Composition shots. I think, yeah, it's looking a little bit flat around these bits here. And it's quite a big environment. So you kind of got to think about, like, how can you break this floor up? And one of the things you could do is kind of add some decals of leaves on the floor, or branches, and not debris as such, but kind of like just things to break up that kind of repetitive pattern to it. Right, okay, be true. And like I said, like a more dynamic shot of the statue, because the statue looks nice. Like, did you do that in ZBrush and then like kind of retopologize and that sort of stuff? Because it looks detailed from this distance. So like a more dynamic shot of that would be pretty cool. Like, instead of using, I think it's you show this example off, which, okay, you're showing the UVs off, but at the same time there's a lot of wasted space. So I've got to be a little bit concerned about your textile density. But I think showing off the statue would be a nicer thing than showing off the pillar. The pillars are quite easy to do, whereas the statue is more is a lot harder in terms of a technical point of view. I know you can do wireframes like that. Yeah. Yeah, the statue's a lot harder than a pillar to do. So you want to be showing the hardest bits. In terms of texture wise, again, I think some of your seaming here is right off. This is definitely needs a bit more work, whether it's a bit more of a trim sheet there to kind of like separate it off. Something like that. I like this stuff, and I think overall this texture is quite good as well. From what I can see of it, it's a little bit flat. Maybe the green channel's the wrong way inside of Unreal. Maybe you'd have to double check that. I think your AO up here is fine. I think that's kind of that works. And again, you've got all this nice detail inside of here, and I can't see it. So you kind of want to, with your screenshots, you want to kind of show those off. And I'd say maybe 3 screenshots, 3 beauty shots that kind of show off the more technical aspects of the scene. And again, like a lighting pass would be great. Just kind of overhaul the lighting a little bit. Maybe add a little bit of dynamic fog in there that interacts with the light. That can always help. Obviously, don't go too overboard with fog, because then you can make it look like you're trying to hide stuff, which I've done in the past. And I think, yeah, and it's you've got the bases here. It's just about breaking up the iteration of pixels and adding more detail in there to bring the scene alive. But other than that, I think it's a good basis. It is. I think it just needs a little bit extra work just to kind of like push it over the edge, basically, to make it look a little bit more, maybe not hyper realistic, but to kind of like add a bit of a story to it. At the moment, it feels very flat in terms of lighting and story, environmental storytelling. Yeah, good start. And like I said, from this distance, the statues look good, but I can't see them close up. So I'm guessing you spent quite a bit of time on that. Show it. Ah, you. Let me undo that. It's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, definitely check out the web. Definitely check out Level 80 because it's got some really cool articles about everything from environment art, prop art, character art. It also has some really good stuff on animation as well. So yeah, do check Level 80 out. I always show my students that because it's a good source for learning and whatnot like that. But yeah, like just spend a bit of time lighting. I think my students do the same. They don't spend enough time on the lighting process, and you can tell. And it is such a big thing to kind of like take your work to the next level, basically, on there. But yeah, keep at it. Let me just try and... Did you have more work on your portfolio before? Or... But yeah, you can use HDRIs even if you're just using the standard lighting. Like, instead of using real-time cube maps, you could use a HDRI in the skylight instead of using it. So yeah. I mean, more recently I've been working in Unity a lot because of the client project that I've been working on, Club Soccer Director 2021 and 2020 last year when I worked on it. It uses Unity, so I've kind of been using a lot more Unity's lighting. And yeah, I have to be very precise with that stuff. Okay. Because it's mobile, we have to be kind of like, yeah, very sparing. Yeah, mobile is not forgiving, especially if you need to support lots of different mobile devices. It can be very hard. I don't know. You say it goes to the level designer and the thingy. Some companies don't have lighting artists, and the thing is, you're trying to stand out from everybody else who's doing environments. So if you're not kind of pushing it that extra mile, or kind of looking at someone else's job and how they do it. Like character artists, I always say to them, if you can understand rigging an animation, you don't have to necessarily show how to do it, but if you can understand, and if you know, like, if you can rig a character that you've made and pose it so that it's not in the A pose or T pose, you're going to stand out more than, say, someone who's just going to put it in an A pose or a T pose. And it's the same with environments. If you understand lighting and general environmental storytelling and how to kind of build up a level to make it feel like a game level, then you're going to get hired over someone who's just making props for environments. So I think you need to make sure you need to have that willingness to kind of learn some other areas just to help you along, basically. Yeah, like I enjoy lighting. I enjoy seeing composition and that sort of stuff. So I know it's not for everybody, and that's when I normally say, like, prop. If you just do props, then it's probably for you. I definitely, I think with like any game engine there is benefits and stuff like that. Like, I think it's definitely taken me a few years to kind of understand that more, but yeah, like Unreal, I'm always going to be a fan of Unreal because that's how I started. It was UE, Unreal Engine 3 and UDK I first started on. That was the first engine I ever learned back at university. So yeah, it's always going to have a place. But it all depends on the studio you're working for as well. Like, some studios you could be working in Unreal, you could be working in Unity, and then other studios you'll be working in an in-house engine, which is just not as up to scratch as, say, Unity or Unreal, which is off-the-shelf stuff, because they have to be, because they have quite a large consumer base. And you think about like the funding that Unity has in comparison to Unreal now, and it's pretty ridiculous. I think Epic's just raised another 1.8 billion in funding for like Unreal 4 and Unreal 5 development from studios, and it's just like it's pretty ridiculous. I agree. If a game school is only teaching Unity, then there's something wrong. We teach both. So we, on the art side at ARU, we mainly teach Unreal. That's what our students prefer. I do workshops on Unity, especially when they do the game dev module in the second year with the programmers. The programmers are very much wanting to do Unity. So I kind of have to come in and do some workshops on how to operate Unity as an artist, because there is some changes in terms of workflow and how you kind of like import textures with the PBR workflow and that sort of stuff. But most of the time I'll leave it up to the student to decide what they want to kind of render in, and the majority go with Unreal because that's what we kind of teach them in the first year as Unreal. And then in the second and third years, that's what they kind of like render all their stuff in, basically. Yeah, I think it is good. And I think it's really important as a programmer as well to be taught both, because one's C++ and one's C#, and now most AAA engines are C++, whereas Unity is C#. And yeah, Unity is good for what it does. I mean, it's the same with Unreal. I remember UDK was good at sci-fi shooters. That was it. It was a shooter engine. And both engines now have kind of, they have to cater to a larger market in terms of like what type of game. Whereas like in-house engines can cater to whatever the studio is making, really. Thingy. Yes, a lot of the software in this field is resource intensive. ZBrush, for example, Substance Designer. When you start to get into the kind of like crazy materials that some people are making, I downloaded one to have a look at like kind of like an ornate roof, and like that. Even my beast of an RTX 2070 Max Q was struggling with it. I think if you're doing this sort of stuff, and as a student, you've got to be prepared to invest the money in some software, in some hardware even, because you've just got to. And obviously, if you go to work for a studio, you're going to have that hardware available to you. But if you do freelance or indie or anything like that, you're going to have to make sure that you're thingy. If students go off and play the latest games, they can afford to buy a top spec PC, unless they're playing on Xbox and PS4. So yeah, you kind of got to go with it. I can understand at college level, and I know that's why a lot of colleges at like sixth form level, A levels, they teach Unity because their machines can't handle it, or like the students don't have the resources at home. But at university, you kind of got to kind of step up at that. Yeah, it's hard sometimes if you're the only person trying to push this. It is hard. I'm lucky enough with the staff I work with, my colleagues at Anglia Ruskin University, and like Tommy, who I work with on a regular basis as well from AI and Games. We have the same mentality as like, I think it's good to kind of like showcase these tools and software and try and support the students as best as we can in both Unity and Unreal, so that we don't get the argument. It's like I get a lot of students coming to me and going, like, oh, I just like playing on a PS4, or I'm just like, I like playing, I'm an Xbox, or I'm a PC fanboy. That's what I'm just like, you need to get that mentality out of you, because you could be developing for anything. Like I've been recently developing for mobile, sure-footing. The other day I was fixing Xbox light build, and optimizing, and the next couple of weeks I'll be optimizing for Switch. I've built for PC, I've built for AR, not AR, I haven't done AR yet. I've done VR. I did a training app for the US Air Force. It's, you kind of have to be flexible to work on a lot of platforms, and have that mentality as like, it's not just about Unreal and not about Unity. You could be working on a completely different engine that hasn't got the same functionality as those two. Yeah, I mean, I just bought a new laptop. I just bought a new custom build from PC Specialist, which is because my old one was just not. It was taking ages to do anything on it, and so yeah, I had to invest while buying a new house as well, um, uh, and having buying getting a little kitten as well. So it's been kind of crazy the last couple of months for me. Yeah, it does help if you've got people who can understand, and your colleagues can kind of, they know where you're coming from and stuff like that. Do you want to say where you taught 3D waste? I I I don't know. I prefer laptops now. Like I said, this one is really nice and not heavy. It does overheat, like a lot of laptops, but like when I'm at home now in the setup I've got at the moment, I'm running 3 monitors through a docking station, and yeah. Oh, okay. I used to teach in San Francisco. Yeah. I was just saying at the start of the stream, I was actually out in San Francisco 2 years ago with my family. We went on a family holiday because I'd never been before, and we did like 6 days in San Francisco, a day in Monterey, and then the rest of the time we were in LA visiting relatives. But yeah, I really loved San Francisco. I'd love to go back. Well, unfortunately, it's not on the highest priority for me and my partner because she's been quite a few times now. She used to work for a company who had offices out in San Francisco, so she used to travel there. She's travelled there one. Oh, okay, yeah. It's very expensive though, from what I heard about the house prices and that sort of stuff. Oh, it's not the really thing you want to be doing. the silver lining from the pandemic, but yeah, I mean, we stayed quite close to Union Square when we went. So yeah, so we stayed just off Union Square, about 3 blocks up. But we did all the touristy stuff. We walked Golden Gate Bridge back and forth. We did the Japanese tea gardens, which was really cool. We did we went to visit the redwoods as well in Muir. Yeah, I mean, this has shown that certain industries can definitely work from home. Me and my partner, we haven't stopped working since when the UK went into lockdown. We've been working throughout, luckily, because both the stuff that we do, we were able to kind of work from home, and even with the teaching as well, we managed to switch online really quickly. I think we were teaching within a couple of days after the lockdown, and our students didn't actually miss a day of taught sessions. We were doing everything through Discord, and it's been working really well. And like I said, the students didn't miss any teaching, so it is. It's one of the biggest things as well. It's like Cambridge. Cambridge is very expensive to live. And I'm always like when I bought my house, I'm not living in Cambridge. I'm living just outside in Royston. I was shocked at how much this house was because I'm from up north, so it's kind of the Midlands I'm from. So it was kind of a bit of a shock when I saw how much this house was going for. But yeah, south of the country. It's good to have a chat with people, even though I haven't got as much done so far. It's better than talking to myself. It really is. It's always nice. Yeah. Do you have sometimes that problem where are you UV editing at the moment, Marty? Because yeah, I sometimes, but at the same time, I just kind of like automatic map it and then stitch it back together how I want it. That's sometimes I do. Yeah, Mayors Unfold does. Do you know what? I don't tend to use Mayors Unfold. I tend to do automatic map it and then stitch it back together how I want it. Maybe cut some of the shells so that I get a better seam on what I'm building. So yeah. One thing I do use a lot is the automatic layout. I use that a lot. Especially once I've got like my textile density correct and that sort of stuff. When you're first learning, yeah, but now it's not really. I know what I'm doing. It's like a giant jigsaw puzzle, so. And you want to get it right. You want the seams where you put them. And I remember back when I first started using Maya, like trying to use Unfold just never worked properly. So I'm maybe a little bit old school there. Yeah, definitely follow 3D. How do you pronounce it? 3D Otis. Otis? I don't start moaning about Maya. Like, you don't know the pain that UVing used to be before they kind of introduced Nightshade UV tools into Maya's standard rollout every year. Like, some of the stuff like textile density used to have to have a plug-in for that, used to have to plug in for other stuff, and like the stack shells and stuff like that. Oh, such a godsend since that was introduced. I'll just call you 3D. Means that I'm not butchering your name. Oh, back in the day. Oh god, yeah. I started using Mayo in 2008. That's when I first started. Before that, 3D software, I was using what do you call it? It was like a CAD program, Pro Desktop. When I was doing my product design stuff at college, yeah, we were using something called Pro Desktop. I know there's been a little bit of a switch to Blender recently. It's been making some traction, and I know a lot of bigger companies are investing in it. And eventually, it's something probably that I'm going to have to kind of learn. But I am putting it off at the moment because I'm just not in the right frame to learn it. I have tried to learn it in the past and didn't really get anywhere with it because, yeah. But maybe I should try it now after they've done some kind of investment in it, and I know they've improved a lot of the workflow and stuff like that. They had a competition recently where you had to make a donut. I know one of my colleagues at work, my boss actually, he took part in that challenge. What would be nice with it is if it makes if it gives Autodesk a kick up the backside and basically improve their game a little bit, because every year there's always something wrong with Maya where it causes some massive memory leak. Now that's not really important in a big studio because they won't update every year, but like for someone who's a freelancer I use the latest stuff normally. It's kind of a pain in the backside, but you're never going to get things perfectly right first time round. Okay. Where's my Google reference? Yeah, definitely agree with that. Competition is always good. As I say, a lot of the time it's whatever the studio that you're applying for is using. Like, if they're using Max, then you're going to need to learn how to use Max. And a lot of the time it's the same principles. It's the same 3D principles that you have to adhere to. All you're doing is just learning a new place, how the stack works inside of Max instead of the history inside of Maya, and you're kind of just learning the hotkeys basically. Again, that's all you're doing. I'll fix you in a minute. Didn't even know Maya had an indie version now. Thought it was always LT. To be fair, LT does everything that I need it to do anyway. The only thing that I miss is Python, because I normally use cable script, which is really good for building cables and stuff. Are you eligible? I don't know actually. If Unreal does. You can make a pretty similar script inside of Unreal to build assets along curves. I know a couple of students a couple of years ago did that for like when they were laying out trees and that sort of stuff, which is pretty cool. I think, yeah, I'll have a look into that another time. Because I think it's a one-off payment, the indie license, whereas I pay monthly. Yeah, you definitely have to do that in Blueprints. That's what my students did when they were building the stuff. Ignore my outliner. That will be cleaned up. That will be before I finish this project. I remember once someone giving me an outliner which they'd screwed up my outliner, and I sent it them back because I was like, nope. Fast forward button, yes. There's a guy actually I follow on YouTube, and unless you're a patron, you don't get his videos, full videos. But like he does like fast forward, sped up speed sculpts and that sort of stuff. 3DX, because I was doing some stylized stuff a couple of months ago. I was looking at his stuff because I've never really done stylized before in my life. But yeah, it's some really cool stuff. Yeah, some people do. Some people prefer it. Some people don't. Some people prefer talking. Other people don't. You can't cater for everybody. It's... No. Same with that's the principle with game development. Some people are going to be happy with what you make. Other people aren't. It's just yeah, they are. Sure-footing. Some of the reviews on Steam it's an Infinite Runner that we released on Steam. We knew that it was gonna happen, but like still the funniest one I read was definitely not worth £9.99. But I didn't pay for it. I got it in the Humble Bundle, so I don't care. I'm like, okay, cool. Which one was 3? Oh, 3 was the American Revolution, right? So, my only, I wouldn't say, I think it should have been this generation when it came, that's Assassin's Creed 3 came out, because I think they missed a trick with the large scale, like, open warfare battles. I think that would have been really cool. But in terms of story, I enjoyed it. It's Assassin's Creed. I'm a big fan of Assassin's Creed. I think they just missed a little bit of a trick with the big fights, like trying to evade lines and lines of infantrymen. I think that would have been cool. Yeah. 4 was Black Flag, if I remember rightly, which was good. I enjoyed the story again, and the pirate ships were cool as well. Pirates. I play a lot of Sea of Thieves. Well, I did play a lot of Sea of Thieves until I got Pirate Legend, but yeah, good old pirates. The recent Assassin's Creeds have been really good. I've enjoyed those a lot. Kind of strip back what the it's a lot more RPG elements to it and that sort of stuff, and actually character development. Though I really enjoyed the one in London as well. That was, like I said, the only one I haven't played was Revelations. That one kind of skipped me by, as you can probably tell from my bookcase. Yeah, I am definitely an Assassin's Creed fan. I think I've got all the PopCap figures now. My partner, she bought me two of the rarest ones for Christmas the last couple of years, so finally finished the collection. How did I feel about the movie? Well, I went to see the movie with my parents. They were down visiting and they wanted to go to the cinema. And they were, oh, let's go watch this. And I was just like, I don't really want to go see this, but okay. Yeah. The last scene where the two of them are talking in the church, that's actually filmed up at Ely Cathedral, which is about 45 minutes north of where I am. It's a lovely cathedral. I went there. I've walked to the top as well, which is quite daunting. But yeah, they filmed those scenes up there. So yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I had mixed feelings about the film. Like, some bits were cool. The leaps of faith, because they actually did the leap of faith. If you watch the making of, and I think it's a British gymnast who actually did it. They actually did the leap of faith, and I thought that was really cool as a stunt. But yeah, I think it was a bit meh on the story. But it was a recent film that I watched, which the story was alright, but it was the cinematography, and that was 1917. And and the kind of like how they did a lot of the effects, and it was all naturally lit as well, which was pretty cool. Okay, let's see if this boolean will work, or is that too complicated? Cool. What I wanted. Oh, I like dicing with death here. I will save though, because I haven't saved for a while, but yeah, I like dicing with death. Do you know what? Mayor's recently has been alright in terms of booleans for me. I don't know what it is. It's probably because I was swearing at it not long ago. But for me, touch wood, it's been alright. Now, I did get given a file the other day. A friend of mine, I won't name him. He's not a 3D artist at all. He was doing some 3D printing. And he'd got these files from the internet. I think he was trying to 3D print something for his brother's birthday, and oh my god, the files! He was trying to do a boolean of some sort to make kind of like a puzzle piece so that you could connect it together quite easily, because you still need connection points with 3D printing, and the models were all triangulated. They'd all gone through triangulation, and it was just like, what? Like, you just couldn't do anything with it because it was everything was triangulated, and some of these meshes were quite complicated. So my advice was, yeah, don't do it. Don't even try. Think of another way of how to like construct this centerpiece together. And he was just asking me as a favour because he obviously knows I've done some conversion for him before on 3D printing stuff. Because like I said, he's not trained in 3D. He's a programmer, very good programmer. He does like 3D printing on the side. So yeah, like I wouldn't say that was a horror. I think that was more just the files that he got to do the centerpiece thing weren't just they were crap models that he'd found on the internet. So it was just easier to kind of think of a different way of actually building them together. But yeah, as a teacher, I've seen some pretty awful files. The one that sticks out to me the most was when I was doing my teacher training. I was doing like a year of shadowing, and a student presented his work to me, and it was like week 11 out of 12, and they were handing in the week after. And he shows me his work, and they were supposed to make a construction vehicle, and yeah, he'd made the construction vehicle. That was fine, but the environment itself was more polys than the construction vehicle, and all the environment was chain link fences, and a couple of cones, and he asked me my opinion, and he said, "Can I have your honest opinion?" And I think this is where I learnt to make sure that you lead with something good, and then an improvement, and then end with hopefully something good as well. It's called the feedback sandwich, and yeah, I made the student cry. And it stuck with me, and I haven't made a student cry since. Touch wood. But yeah, like his chain link fence was modelled. Each chain was modelled, so each bit of the fence was 40,000 polys, and he had 6 of those in the scene. So like I said, like his environment was, for how big it was bigger than his construction vehicle in terms of poly. The poly size was only, they had 10,000 for the environment and the digger to work with. I don't know. I hope he duplicated. But yeah. That still sticks with me because he started crying, and I was like, oh shit. And but the thing was, I did tell him how to fix it. I didn't just leave him crying. I did kind of like show him that he could do like a bake on it, and then bake it down to use it as an alpha. So what he'd done wasn't all going to go to waste, because like I said, what he could do is he could actually high poly bake that to a plane and use the alpha from X normals to kind of use that as the alpha in Photoshop, and then just make an alpha plane for it. So it wasn't like he was going to lose all his work. It was just, yeah, he just screwed the pooch a little bit. Seen other files as well. More recently, working at ARU, I had a student who was like, Matt, what do you think of my... he was doing a model, he was doing kind of like a mech from... I forgot the film, what it was called. And what was that? With the massive monsters and massive mechs that fought together. I can't remember what it's called. It's going to come back to me anyway. And he was like, Matt, what do you think of the mech? And I was like, okay, there's a few points, so you can improve it. You need to have a little more reference on these kind of like mechs and these robots. And he's like, what's your honest opinion? I said, well, at the moment it looks like a shit transformer. Which it did. It really did look like a shit transformer, and I knew he wasn't going for transformer. He was going for Pacific Rim mechs. So I was like, yeah, it looks, and it stuck with him. And but the thing is, that student I knew could take the kind of banter, and it stuck with that student quite a lot. Yeah. I knew he could take it, so sometimes it's kind of like, and I never say it's shit. I always say it can be improved this way, and people, because I know people come to me, and like senior people to me tell me how to improve stuff as well, and it's kind of like, and I've seen it from the other end where senior people have told one of my students it's shit and not actually told them how to improve it, and it's so unconstructive, it's so mean. It's being mean for the sake of being mean. Like, always follow it up as like, if it is bad, follow it with how they can improve it. Not, oh, it's shit, do it again. This looked like a shit transformer, and he knows who he is. He sometimes watches this stream, so he may give me abuse for bringing it up. Or he may, no, he won't actually. He's fine about it. He's got over it. I don't think he holds a grudge. But yeah, you have to be direct, firm and direct, but at the same time, there is that fine line of being a dick and being constructive. And sometimes some people who are not used to doing that come across as being a dick, and I know I've just sworn twice on the stream, but anyway, so yeah, it's about being constructive. One thing that gripes me about the industry is sometimes when you do art tests and you do not go, you do an art test for a company and they don't give you feedback. That's the biggest gripe I've got with art tests. Yeah, I know, the outliners do it. There you go, I'll hide it for you. I'll fix it in a bit. But yeah, like, I had to do an art test and I had to beg for feedback. And then they had a go at me for begging for feedback. When you get someone to do something free, at least you can give them feedback. Yeah, it's... I had to do 2 art tests for the same company in a week. Like 2 pieces. 2 pieces I had to do. Like 2 object. I had to do a house and I had to do a prop. And they liked the prop. They couldn't give me any feedback on the prop, but the house, they were like, gave me 10 bits of feedback, and I was like, okay, cool. And I looked at the feedback and it was like, okay, these can be fixed quite easily with a bit of art direction, but not to fail someone on. So anyway, yeah, it's hard. It's hard because you've got to do them. Unfortunately, the necessary evil in the industry. But if you are going to give someone an art test, make sure that you give them feedback at the end. I got one feedback once, which was, we don't have the resources for you at the moment. I was like, huh? What does that mean? Does it mean I'm shit? I don't know. Yep, I think that's a good way to look at it. I think that's the best way you can look at it, actually, what 3D said, which was, like, if they're not willing to give you feedback, then do you really want to work for them as a company? Or if they're giving you tight deadlines of, like, making you do stuff in a day, it's like, do they understand kind of, like, the process and practices of 3D? It's like, maybe not. Maybe they're not worth working for. No, I can understand where you're coming from, Tom, there, where I think at the CV stage and the kind of like portfolio stage, that's fair. A lot of companies won't have the time because they have hundreds up to thousands of applications for that one job. But if they've got you to do an art test, you've already done an interview, and you're at the stage where they're seeing to make sure that you can do the work and stuff. If they're not giving feedback at that stage, then that's a problem, I'm sorry, because they've only selected maybe 10 people, and it's not that hard to do 10 pieces of feedback. I totally understand at interview stage, and I totally understand at application stage. It's very hard to give feedback, and I think any industry is the same because you're having so many people applying. I think that's fine, but at art test, you've actually asked someone to do some work for free. And the least you can do is give them feedback. Some companies will. I did an art test before I got the interview, but at the interview they gave me feedback on the art test. So they even still gave me feedback at the interview. Yeah. So they've obviously seen something they like, because at interview stage it's pretty much they're checking to make sure that you're not a douche and the work is yours and you can talk about your work. So yeah. Okay, let me back out of this one, it's a bit too close. So at the moment I'm just doing this bit here. I'm having to work off Google Maps to kind of get the reference that I need for it, which is the wrong house. Upper street, there we go. Okay, so it's pretty similar, just minus the fancy bit here. I need to do that after as well. Okay. Get that right. Yeah. Keep getting those houses the wrong way round, and then I look at it and go, that's not right. It's like, yeah, but I need to get this done. That looks like a lip. This is where I start talking to myself, so I do apologise. Well, it's like the same sort of window. A lot of those houses do look like that, don't they? The ones that I'm doing are on Alamo Square, which is the Painted Ladies. For anybody, it's that's the ones from is it Mrs. Doubtfire. I bet. I'm guessing your nan didn't pay very much for it either. Back in, well, it probably was quite a value at the time, but like how much you probably sold it for now, it's yeah, it is crazy, and it's the same in any big city. London's the same as well. Some of the monthly rent in London. No, I'm not from London. I live not far, about an hour on the train. I live in North Hertfordshire, near Cambridge. But I do sometimes travel into London to do freelance contracts and that sort of stuff. Yeah. Well, I know how much it is bloody to rent around here as well. I've just purchased a home in Royston, and yeah, I'm originally from up north. I'm originally from Stoke-on-Trent, in the Midlands, and for anybody who doesn't know where that is, so for anybody who doesn't know where Stoke-on-Trent is, it's in between Birmingham and Manchester, and it used to be famous for pottery. My nan actually was a gilder. She used to paint fine china and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I know where Escape Studios is. I've been there once. I've seen their facilities. Pretty good. But yeah, I know Escape Studios. Hey Rich, how's it going? See, no one's ever pure wherever they're from. I mean, England's like a pincushion, isn't it? Because the amount of times we were invaded back in Viking times and that sort of stuff. Yeah, come over. It's rainy, so if you don't mind the rain, although it's been really hot recently, global warming. But yeah, no, it's nice. There's some really nice places, and I mean, I give Stoke-on-Trent. I'm not the biggest fan. I grew up there. I know what it's like, and it unfortunately is somewhere where there's industry left a long time ago, like pot banks and coal and steel and that sort of stuff, and it never got replaced. But like, if you go maybe 30 minutes away from the centre of Stoke, you're in some really nice, beautiful countryside, and my parents still live up there, and I sometimes go up there for walks and that sort of stuff. So yeah, definitely England's got a lot of very pretty places, very pretty countryside, and a lot of history as well. It always amazes me when I go to America and it's like, oh, this is from the certain century, and it's like my partner's from France, and we went on a tour of New York, Ground Zero, and the guy was like, this is the oldest church from, I can't remember what the date was, and me and my partner just looked at each other and went, that's quaint, because there's a lot more historical buildings in this part of the world. Yeah, our heat wave is not as crazy as your guys over there. I know it's. I think, aren't you guys a lot more better equipped because of the air conditioning and that sort of stuff? Because that's one thing we're lacking over here is kind of we're getting more and more in restaurants and shops and stuff like that. But yeah, aircon is a big thing that homes miss in the UK. Yeah, that could be a problem. I suggested that to her, to my partner, Rich. So can we get a lazy spot? And she just looked at me like, no. For the outdoor swimming pool. Although saying that, the new place that I moved into, we don't have any grass. It's all artificial. Yes. Because I don't like gardening. I hate gardening. Yeah. She wasn't the biggest fan of that idea. Don't know why. So rolling blackout, yeah, I can imagine that's a bit of a pain in the backside. We don't, touch wood, we don't get that over here because we don't have that kind of demand for that. So yeah. So yeah, so 3D, you grew up in San Francisco. What was that? There's a place that I went, which was, I don't know whether you've been near City Hall, called Brenda's Soul Food. I don't know whether you didn't know that restaurant. And oh my god, beignets. Oh. It's been over 100 for the past week in the forecast. And the problem with that is because of all the dry brush and everything. It's the fires and that sort of stuff that you guys get. It must be quite terrifying. Thanks, Tom. It will be when it's finished, and I promise I'll clean up the outliner. I always clean the outliner up, even if I'm not handing the model over to someone else. It's good practice to kind of keep it clean and tidy, so that if someone else does use your model or uses your scene, then it's clean for them to kind of go in and work in it. Like I said before, I've had people hand me back the scene, and it's just been a nightmare. That might be what the problem is. Why wasn't that lining up? That thing there, Rich. There you go. that fixes that issue there, Tom. Yeah. You're using Blender now, aren't you, Rich? Oh, Modo, okay. Okay, I'm not happy with this. The distance here, don't think it's correct. So let me just change that. I actually think it's more. Ah, itchy eye. Huh. Oh, right. Oh, let's catch up with the chat. Ah. Exactly, 3D. That's a good point. It doesn't matter how much software, you know, if you don't follow the principles of art when you're building this sort of things, or principles of 3D modeling, then it doesn't matter what software, you know, your art isn't going to look right. So I think that's a very good thing to say. Blender I do find good, but slightly different way of modeling. Yeah, all skills are transferable. That's the thing. It doesn't matter. Like I had to learn how to use Max in 2 weeks because I was teaching it 2 weeks later at a university. It doesn't matter. The main principles of 3D skills are transferable um, between the different softwares. Frosty Mike, hello Frosty Mike, welcome. I don't know whether you've been here before, so if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Tend to do 3D modeling and sometimes play as well. I think last couple of times I've been playing Warzone. Been recently playing Warzone. Don't know why I started playing Warzone again. And thank you for the follow as well. Thank you, Frosty Mike, for the follow. Although, hang on. Widgets. Next time, the alert box, my face won't obstruct the alert box. Do apologise about that. Don't get many followers. That's why I haven't seen it till now. Yes, I know. I've just seen it. I've fixed it. It should pop up right. If you want to unfollow me, then follow me back. Then we'll be able to see it. So I am sorry. I do apologise. But thank you for the follow. Right. I need to fix this. Always save as well. If you're gonna do anything, just make sure you save your work. Whatever software you're using, doesn't matter. It will be cruel to you and it will delete stuff. You just have to accept it. And it's alright to swear at it for a couple of seconds, but don't keep going on about it. It doesn't like that. The amount of students that like starts not swearing, but like having to go at the piece of software they're using because it's crashed, and then keep going on about it and on about it. It's like, yeah, it's a piece of software that's using very resource-intensive techniques, and you've probably actually done something wrong to make it crash, like maybe clicked on it too many times and that sort of stuff. So, yeah. Like now in chat, Rich, Tom, and 3D, I'm just thinking like you kind of trading war stories with Blender back in Nam. Things I saw. It's the same with Maya as well. Some of the stuff that Maya used to do was quite hilarious. I actually used to live with a guy. I was crashing with a 3D guy who'd been using Max since it came on disc, and it was like God knows how many discs large, and he still had the original packaging. You know when like pieces of software would come in those massive cardboard boxes, and yeah, he was telling me stories about that. That was quite interesting. No, they didn't have the solid shading. I started using Maya back in 2008. I think when the first time I really used it, before that I was using Pro Desktop. And yeah, to be fair, as a first year student, I was crap. Like, I didn't really pay much attention, which is not the way to go. So, any students who watch this, don't pay attention. Yeah, pay attention throughout the whole 3 years, because you're going to need to. Because the 3 years is not enough time to teach you what you need to get to go and work in the industry. Definitely not enough time. I think the funniest thing I had a couple of months ago was a student. I spoke to a student. I was giving their third year some feedback, and he was like, "Oh my god, I found your Twitch channel. I can't believe I can watch you doing 3D while I'm just at home." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's the whole reason why I'm doing this." So that you guys have got, like, my students have got a reference that they can go to, and that's why. Plus, it's fun. I enjoy doing this sort of thing. Nice 3D. I've never heard of that. I'll have a look at your. I'll have a look at your Twitch channel 3D. It's always good to recommend online stuff for students to learn from. I don't think that's the case, Rich. I think student. If we look at it from my students when they come to me whether it's undergraduate or masters, because on the masters I get a lot of students who are illustrators who've never done 3D in their life, but they've got solid art skills, like traditional art skills that they've got. And like, for example, my master's intake this year, the majority of them are illustrators, and they've learned 3D this year. And how I structure the masters is it gives them the opportunity to do that. I think you need a good understanding of traditional art, some form of traditional art, whether that's fine art, life drawing, illustration, product design, photography. I think all those like traditional art skills kind of help with 3D, and it gives the students a bit more of a step up over, say, someone who's just solely being taught 3D and try to learn as many pieces of software. I think you still need that kind of grounding in a traditional art sense to help with learning, especially when it comes to texturing and that sort of stuff. University, I prefer students to maybe to learn, like, stick with Maya or Max or Blender, whatever the university's teaching, stick with that piece of software. We teach ZBrush from the first year because it's such an important tool in the process now. We found that as a trend. We're teaching more Substance Painter and Designer, but we're not just teaching how to just slap a material onto Substance Painter. We're doing the whole, this is how you kind of build your materials up, and this is how you build scratches, this is how you build dirt layers, this is how you tell a story with the prop that you're making. And we also then look at Unreal and Unity. We don't look at just one. We give them kind of we look at both so that they are kind of better informed with it. Like, trying to get them to learn as much software as possible sometimes can be a bit of a hindrance. I think it's important. They've got to learn the skills and they've got to learn the principles. The principles is the biggest thing. Uh, as soon as you get that, you can think. And some students learn quicker than others. Some students are like that when they can pick up ZBrush and that. One of those students was a year below me at university, Seth. He's an amazing character artist. He was lead character artist on Battlefield 5. He was a character artist in Infinity Ward. He's now at High Res. He came from a traditional sculpting route. He used to sculpt the Warhammer Empire models for Games Workshop. So he was a traditional sculptor, and as soon as he picked up ZBrush, he didn't even finish university. He just went and got a job as a character artist, and he's very good traditional artist and a very good 3D artist as well, at top of his game. So yeah, some students it takes longer than other students. It definitely took longer for me as a student. I didn't pick it up overnight, and I've had to improve. I was very much, I didn't have that art background as strong as other people in my course, and I definitely suffered from it. But you just have to kind of learn it, basically. But yeah, like it does take longer for some students over other students to learn stuff on there. Time relative 3 years student working on the question. Yeah, I think you're right there. 3D. Some students don't put enough time into it, and they don't realise. They think, oh, we can do this just overnight. It's not going to happen like that. It takes time. It takes practice. It's a skill that you can lose if you don't practice enough. I'm not actually teaching second and first years anymore. I teach level 6 final years and masters now. But I bet you any money some of the second year, every year when I was teaching first to second years, the summer that they went off on break, there's quite a few that would come back, and you'd have to reteach them Maya basically, because they just forgot it over the summer because they'd done nothing over the summer to help advance their skills. And then you get other students who go off and get placements for the summer and actually go and work on projects or do their own personal work, and it's like you can definitely see the difference when people practice the 3D modeling skills. Yeah, that can happen, Tom. Sometimes it unfortunately comes down to who you know, but I can't see a solution on that. No, I haven't. I haven't seen the mini documentary on Vimeo. If you can link it, feel free to link articles or channels or anything like that you think would help people, because it really does help the community. Although saying that, your chat did get blocked because it had the term loser in it, and I think that's one of my banned words, so I didn't have to permit it. Yeah, okay, Rich, yeah. Learning the principles is the key thing. Yeah, you just have to word it a bit better. But yeah, I agree with that. We do a lot of networking at ARU, which I kind of spearhead. We do live briefs with clients as well. More recently, the masters over the last few years have done briefs with my company. They've done briefs with Ghost Town Games, who make Overcooked. Last year, Quang also from a server tech did a brief with them, and this year they're also doing a brief as well with Spilt Milk Studios. So my masters always get exposed to industry when they come to events as well, like Eurogame or Rezzed. I always try and get them tickets to that to go and network and talk to people. Because a lot of the time I'm there at those events anyway, but I'm networking with people. I'm pitching stuff. I'm doing panel talks with Tommy from AI in Games. So yeah, I kind of encourage my master students to do that, and I always organise our talks as well. So even during lockdown, we've had 3 talks for the major project module. So like Amy, who's a senior animator at Frontier, Reese, who's an old student of mine, who works at Myriad doing VR stuff, and Seth, who's a friend of mine. And like I've had in the past my friends who've worked at like Naughty Dog and JagX and loads of other places do talks, and Playground Games. One of my old students works at Playground Games. Codemasters as well have done talks for me. So yeah, it's important to kind of network, and I always stress that to the students. It's like you've got to have a good portfolio, but at the same time, if you can go out and talk to people and show your work and be able to talk about it, then that's also helpful. Do you know what? I failed Introduction to 3D Modeling in my first year, and I came back and passed it just about. But 4 years later, I was teaching that module at the university. So yeah, you're definitely right there. 3D, it can. Students, sorry, I'm just catching up with all the thingy. You guys are probably carrying on talking and stuff. I'll catch up in a minute. Thank you for the link. I don't know of a guy called Philip Meldreth. I'm very bad with names, but where does he work? So I'll caught up with chat. Yay. So the guys I know at JagX are Mark Ogilvy. Many meetings I've had with him about games development in Cambridge. He's a good guy. I used to live with a character artist, Isaac Pringle, who still works there. And I know a few of the guys who come to the meetups in Cambridge, because there's like a Cambridge Game Devs meetup. Me and Rich go to the the Hertfordshire Games meetup, which has got quite a few people into it, Rich. Even though you're in Ipswich. Ipswich? Philip Meldreth. Do you know where he taught? I'm gonna get this right in a minute. I'm having one of those. It's that time in the afternoon when I need coffee. I don't know many people from Hertfordshire University. I've never really been to there. I've been to the student union. A friend of mine used to run that student union, and she invited me down to go watch. What was it now? Cascada. I don't know why I went to see the Cascada, but anyway. But yeah, no, I don't really know the team at Hertfordshire. do? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Yes. Ipswich, actually, I've only been once and I didn't spend very long in Ipswich, so yeah. Can't even keep a straight face when saying that. Lots of seagulls, if I remember rightly. Okay, focus for a bit. Come on. Yeah. I'm guessing those plans got put on hold, Rich. Where were you thinking of travelling? Ah, Philippines and Bali. I've never been to the Philippines. I've been to Thailand and I've been to Singapore. But yeah, never been to those places. And supposed to be in Portugal right now, visiting my wife's family actually. Yeah, I've never actually been to Portugal. I've been to Spain and France. The first time I ever went to France was with my partner because she's from Normandy. So the first time I ever went to France was to visit her family a couple of years ago. But yeah, it's a shame, but if we don't, okay, that's going to be a little bit harder to do. It is. It's bad. I was supposed to be in Spain 2 days ago for a holiday, and luckily the holiday itself was through. We've only lost the flights, one-way flights, because we were coming back separately, and we were coming back. I was coming back to the UK, and my partner was going back to France for a wedding after the holiday in Spain. So we only lost the money that we spent on the Ryanair flights because Ryanair didn't cancel their flights, so they still were going ahead, even though the travel restrictions basically. So we were lucky in that sense, and I think we were supposed to be going to France to see her parents next week, and that's been completely cancelled. Yeah, I'm pretty drained. Yeah, not only have I been working on stuff, I've been painting my house as well, and then looking after Zelda. Um, yeah, I'm actually just let me just gonna run a ad break, and then just quickly go get a drink, and then I'll be back in a minute. Just gotta remember that. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Okay, I've got someone to join us who's just woken up. So she's not in a playful mood, thank God. She's not trying to bite my hands off. But yeah. So yeah, the last couple of months have been quite busy because we've had this little one, and yeah, moving into a new house. Huh. So you're all nice now, aren't you? I'm gonna have to give you back to Helen in a minute. Because yeah, I know. Meow. Hello. You just woke up, haven't you? She's 16 weeks old. No? You want me to stop? So yeah, she's 16 weeks old. Her name's Zelda. And yeah, she loves being cradled like a baby. She does her best impression to be a sausage dog as well. Oh, yeah, I've had that. She's been standing on my keyboard this morning. She put a pause on my mouse to stop me from working. She goes to sleep behind the computer as well because it's nice and warm. She's waking up now. My partner's not happy because she wanted cuddles. What's up with you? What have you seen? No? Okay. She's also discovered how to jump and how to get into places that she couldn't, like last week. So she's now able to jump onto like the kitchen counters, and yeah, peace has gone out the window. Yeah, she does headbutt me as well. She does that to get me to do stuff. My partner deals with her the most though, because she doesn't really come upstairs unless she's exploring. So my partner has her office downstairs, so she has to deal with her more, especially her biting and her clawing and stuff. You've recently learnt biting us. I think she's teething. Touch wood, she hasn't done that yet. She hasn't stepped on my power button. It's quite hard on a laptop to do that, but yeah. Touch wood. Touch wood. She's now just sitting in the window, watching. She loves watching the cars go by. She hasn't been out yet. We need to. She's got a rabies shot in a couple of weeks, and then we're hoping to get her spayed before she goes out, because we don't want us coming back with kittens. Yeah, that's how we got her. Yeah, her mother went out and came back with kittens. Ah, hummingbird feeder. Ah, okay, yeah. What? No. Okay, bear with me. Just tried to jump out the window. I've got a little window open. What are you trying to do then? Yeah, you're not going out there. As you can probably see, she's just looking at the cars go by and is trying to make an escape out the window. So yeah, she's not quite ready to go outside yet. And there's a lean-to roof there, so she could easily jump down. So no, you're not going away yet. Okay, yeah. Is your cat a outside cat or an inside cat? 3D. Inside only, right? Okay, yeah. No, Zelda's going to be outside. I think we don't want to, but it's not fair on her because she's very hunter. She's picking up a lot of hunting skills, and she will go for. We've got like a toy pigeon. She loves to obliterate that. So I can understand over there. Yeah, for us the biggest things are foxes that we get, maybe some deers. I don't think the deers will bother her, but like the foxes, I haven't seen any, so I'm not too worried. The problem we've got is we're right next to a main road, which is quite busy. So that's our only concern at the moment is the main road. And there are some local cats as well that go out, so whether she like claws them. She's looking at me like, you're talking about me. But what's up? Hey, what's up? Yeah, faces could kill. That would be the face. What? What's up? Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Okay. Okay. Nearly there. No, nowhere near. I've still got the roof to do. Oh, that roof's got quite a bit of intricate pattern work. It's food time for it. Yeah, she's just going to get some food. And the partner just came and grabbed her. Right, what's the next bit? Pardon me. Yeah, one of my master students is from San Francisco. He grew up there. His parents still live there, and he showed me their house, which is pretty cool. Okay, Zillow. Is that like a property management? Ah, yeah. Okay. So we have something called Rightmove. I don't know whether you have that in the States, but yeah, Rightmove is good. I did have a link. I've got it somewhere. I need to dig it out. But of the actual house that I'm modelling, they took some interior shots as well. So if I feel a bit adventurous and want to finish it off fully, I might do an interior as well. I don't know yet. Plan is to kind of finish it off and put it up for sale on a 3D store. Okay, so Zillow and Sunset. I'd hate to imagine how much these house prices are. Bloody hell. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I've just seen one which is 8 million, which is 4 bedrooms. The cheapest one I've seen is 928,000, which is, yeah. Oh, that's not cheap at all. This one doesn't. Oh god, yeah. Yeah, there's one for 650,000, and it's only a 1 bedroom. Yeah, 1 bedroom for 600. Okay, I'm not going to complain how much I paid for this house. 2 bedroom, 928,000. Doesn't look like it needs to be torn down, but it's only like a 2 bedroom. So I've got the front. So I've got like this bit here, and I was going to do a back alley, and I'm probably going to have to do the back as well, because I want to sell it as a whole house. So I'll probably do the backyard. At the moment, I haven't found any decent pictures of the backyard, so I'm going to have to go on, have a look at the aerial view of Google Maps, just to kind of get a rough idea, and then have a look at similar properties that may have backyards, and kind of work from there, basically. Yeah. I remember doing a project with a company, and we were doing, we were rebuilding a stately home that had been burnt down, so we were rebuilding a 3D model of it, and it was quite hard to do because there wasn't much information, but you find ways around it. Just have to work with what you got, don't you? Oh, that'd be great if you could, because whatever reference I can kind of get at it. Like I said, I have got an article about this specific house which has got images, and I think there is a few of the backyard in terms of layout, but like what you would find in an average San Francisco house, that'd be great. Okay, it's nearly on the roof section. The roof section's actually quite. It looks quite. Oh, what a me. It's very detailed. I've got all this ornate stuff here. I've got these sculptures here, which looks like ivy or some kind of plant sculpture, which I'll probably do. I don't know how I'm going to do that actually. I think I'll probably do it in Substance Designer. Get some kind of like alpha mask going. And then we've got all this other intricate detail as well. Luckily these things, I'm kind of just using these and then repeating them around the place. Yeah, and definitely these will get. I've done versions of them, like I've done these already. I just need to strip the polys down a little bit because at the moment, yeah. Well, I want to get the details done first, and then I'll worry about optimizing after. These trim sheets are really good for that sort of thing. Like these trims. Yeah, going to be able to kind of hide a lot of problem areas with that trim. Yeah, so I think on that note, I'm going to end it there. Actually, I'm just going to fix this last bit here so I've got an idea for when I next start. Okay, I've just bookmarked that for reference. Thank you for digging those out. And yeah, cool. So let's have a quick look at where we're at. Okay. Yeah. It's getting there. A lot more details still to go into it. Still probably a couple more days on and off for a couple hours each day to get this done. I'll probably be back doing this next Monday. I need content for YouTube. So yeah, this will be uploaded straight to Tablefoot Games' YouTube channel, where we've got tutorials on Maya, Substance Painter, Unreal, and AI programming inside of Unity as well. Tommy's got some tutorials up there as well, and hopefully more to come. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and it's been good chatting to people. It always makes the stream go a lot quicker. It doesn't feel like I've been streaming for 2.5 hours when I'm able to chat to people. And yeah, thank you for all those who subscribed today, and yeah, and I will see you all in the next stream. Bye. Thanks. Now it's the awkward bit where I forget to do the transition.